This is what you're paying for.
Get out of my way.
It's all part of the menu.
It's okay.
No, we're gonna die tonight.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
The Menu is a 2022 dark comedy horror movie, directed by Mark Mylod and stars Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult. It tells the story of this young couple who go to this really exclusive restaurant on this isolated island with a bunch of other wealthy foodies. It's one of those super high-end restaurants where it's a one-of-a-kind menu that's created by this world-famous chef played by Ralph Fiennes. So this movie was a little different than I was expecting. It was a little less funny than I was expecting, but it still was very funny. But it's very dark, twisted sense of humor, a kind of humor that you do find yourself laughing, but it's also not overtly funny per se. It very much has a message it's getting across about consumerism and the food industry as a whole, but not just food, but just the wealthy elite in general and the way they treat the working class of people, the people that they kind of treat as disposable. It has a lot to say about that. It isn't super political though, so I really did appreciate that. It's not trying to speak to politics and right wing versus left wing or any of that kind of thing. It's just more about wealthy elite in general, people that just look their noses down on others. And it isn't just wealthy people, but anyone who sees themselves above others and doesn't really fully appreciate people that pour their heart and soul into their craft. And I really appreciated what it was saying because as an artist myself, I know what it's like to pour your heart into something and have it just treated as this disposable type of thing and not have people really recognize and appreciate, even if they don't like what you do, appreciate all the hard work that you put into that thing. But it does lean into the horror side as well. It gets pretty gory and creepy at times, but in general it's more kind of in that dark and twisted sense of humor type of horror and not really scary type of horror. But I really had a great time with this movie. I found myself just laughing out loud at times and just in general being entertained by it. Because even though it has a message to say, it never loses sight of the sense of humor and the entertainment of it all. So it never gets preachy. It never feels too overboard with all of that. It really is a fun, put together movie with some really great performances. This whole cast really did a great job in this. Each one of them has this unique role to play and do a great job of it. They're just all over the top characters in one way or another and just a lot of fun to watch. This movie's also gorgeously shot. The way it's put together, the way it presents the food, it's a really unique, quirky way that it does all that too. The way it presents this menu and how it goes through this movie almost in chapters, with each course of the meal being this own separate thing, because without giving anything away, this movie is kind of presented to you as this meal, because the courses go one and the same with what actually is going on in the movie. It's hard to say without really giving that element away, and I'd rather you be able to see this and enjoy that for yourself, but it's presented in a really fun, quirky, creative way. The whole island they're on and the way the food incorporates the island and nature, I thought was done stunningly, just very beautifully done. At times I found myself wishing that I could try this food in this movie because it just looks that appealing and that beautifully put together. It looks like food porn, food art throughout. Whoever they had put together this food, definitely they had to have gotten some real chefs involved because it's gorgeous and it just looks awesome, man. It really does. Like, I'm not Mr. High-end food guy, but I would definitely like to try some of the items in here because it reminded me, because I love watching the Food Network and I've really appreciated different foodie type of things through the years. Anthony Bourdain, Andrew Zimmern, and I saw a lot of menu items in this that reminded me of some stuff I've seen them try through the years and talk about. So if you're a chef or anyone involved in culinary arts or in the food industry, there's definitely a lot here for you as well. But You don't have to be involved in food or be a foodie either to appreciate this, because like I said, it's very funny with a lot of elements about it that you're going to identify with and connect to regardless if you're involved in the food industry. But if you are involved in the food industry and as a server or waiter or whatever, you are very much going to appreciate a lot of the stuff they have to say in this. But just in general, anyone who has worked some type of service industry at some point, who have had to wait on people or create for others, any job like that, which the vast majority of us have had to at least at one time or another, you're going to really appreciate what it's trying to say, the overall message. But once again, it doesn't do that in a preachy, overly heavy-handed way. So you're able to be entertained by it and have fun with it as well. So I feel like this is a well-written, well-directed, just put together in a really enjoyable way. I really highly recommend checking this movie out. I think you'll really have a great time with it. All right, that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to my patrons, because you guys mean so much to me. And I would love to have you as part of the Ghost Pirate Army on Patreon. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. If you enjoyed this, click right here for another review. And I'll see you guys next time.